So I think initially it's like that thing with most parents is every parent believes that they've got this super child and super gifted. Um, so we started seeing, I think from day one, we saw that he had this talent and a gift for it. But it was only when we pursued some lessons, took him to a sort of professional, just to pick up and see, is he what we're seeing? And it was just after a few lessons that at the beginning he said, no, you've definitely, he's got a gift here. He's got a gift for, especially for his ear, for hearing the notes, memorizing music. And as time kind of progressed, and then he started sharing, no, for his age, he's playing where 12, 13, 14-year-olds that have been playing for a while. So once that was kind of affirmed for us, obviously as any parent, it's incredible. But I think more so than knowing that he had a gift was seeing it in action and seeing the difference that it made. When he goes to the mall and he plays and you see people get emotional, you see them come up and share afterwards. And so whether we was told he had a gift or not wouldn't be so important as to see it in action and the difference that it was making. Yeah, so Liz is 9 years old. We discovered the dyslexia fairly early, in the sense of around about when he was 5.5, which is more so than my wife that only discovered it in much later years. So to actually discover it was a big help, because from there you could understand a lot more and you could understand how to work with it. I think the biggest issue for him is the obvious one of reading. And although he can read, it was slower for him to learn. It was more frustrating. There was a lot of self-doubt in he couldn't understand why he wasn't able to necessarily read, certainly at levels that his older siblings could. So that kind of knocked his confidence in the beginning and almost made him adverse to even reading what he was able to. And that was something that we had to put a lot more focus into for him. But that to one side, having dyslexia is such an incredible gift. And I think the one thing that we've seen is his mind just thinks differently. And he'll look at things differently. He'll see the world through different eyes. He'll recognize patterns. He's an incredible problem solver, just in the different sort of views that he sees things with. I mean, we strongly believe that the gift he's got within piano, a large part has been helped by the dyslexia, in the sense that although he does read music, it's also been much more of a struggle and something that he's less inclined to do. It is harder sometimes just spotting where the notes and the right notes are, but the memory and the understanding of patterns that he's got from it is what's enabled him to just play the way he does and kind of open up that gift for him. So I think for the first question, I mean, it was a great honor and a great privilege with Rocco actually coming to Melkbosstrand and doing something here and then opening the door for him to come alongside. We actually put a little clip of the beginning of that on Andrew's Instagram. Rocco was giving him some tips. And so I think he very much enjoyed sort of just some of what he could learn there. But what was also great for Andrew in understanding his own heart and his direction of where he feels that he wants to go. The one thing that he picked up is people can play and use that gift for different reasons and different needs in the world. So what in Andrew's kind of own words, he saw that Rocco was an entertainer. And, you know, the world needs entertainment, and it was great. But he kind of saw he could pursue a career in entertaining or showmanship. But for his little heart, he said that that isn't what he wants to do at all. And in some ways, it almost helped reaffirm for him that he's playing for the love of music and what it can do, how it can touch people's hearts. So it was great just to see him go through that process at such a young age. And then in terms of kind of future, I mean, so many doors, it's like the world is sort of opening up for him at the moment. Just people are now discovering him and seeing him. So it's very, very early days in that sense. But I mean, definitely open to whatever other doors open. We did actually have someone reach out, that's Stefan Enslin, that's Faith in Motion Productions, and he's made several Afrikaans movies, including Stripbacks, which is probably one of the most well-known ones. Forgive my best Afrikaans accent for it there. But Stefan actually reached out, having heard him play, and he said he's very keen in one of his next movies to have him compose something and play for a backing or a soundtrack with music there. So that's an incredible honor as well. But just to see what doors do open from there, any upcoming events, and yeah, very much open for them. That's a really, really good question. Again, I think it's so early, and literally within the space of about a week, we've gone from a local following that regularly sees him playing all on a piano there, to just everything suddenly opening in a very short space of time. So in terms of future plans, we're so new to this. It's not something that we set out in terms of managing a child prodigy or something like that. So we're learning, we're open to input, we're open to ideas and suggestions, whether it would be independent, whether it would be a label. We're really open to kind of learn and hear as we go along. I think for Andrew, it really does, it's the heart of playing. So I even spoke to him this morning and I said, "Bud, how are you feeling? Like you've just made front page news, literally, Instagram going up, people phoning in. How are you feeling about it all?" And such a beautiful little heart. And he says to me, "Dad," he says, "it's nice, but I'm trying not to think about it too much, because if I do, I'm going to get pride." And he says, "I don't want to get pride." He says, "I just want to keep doing what I'm doing for the reason I'm doing it, to see people healed and to try in some way to kind of open up God and his love into people's hearts." And, you know, so in that place, I think Andrew's plans is just going to keep doing what he does at every opportunity he gets to do it, to reach out to whoever he can. In terms of how we could help facilitate that, without ever putting it into a place where it was too much pressure to perform, or too much too soon that could ruin a gift for him. So I think we're very much aware of that. But I, for one, would certainly love, as he starts getting used to composing more of his own songs, I would love to start getting this recorded, and then who knows, maybe 6-12 months down the road, get a CD, something released. Well, there's an old one, CD, but get a little album released for him, and be able to share and also just see where that goes. Yeah, also, sure, really good question. I think the process that we took with all of our kids, and I mean, this was specifically within music, but it could be with any field of talent. Neither my wife and I was musically gifted, but I really wanted to open the opportunity for our kids to explore. So we had an old keyboard that we got. I got an old guitar, just to leave it laying around to see if it's something they would explore, because I knew it could be really good for them if they did. So it was great when we actually noticed Andrew sort of exploring that, able to encourage and help. And from quite early on was a choice almost of, do we look at doing graded music, or do we just let him play and learn as he's playing and learning? And we made the choice. We didn't want to kind of set deadlines and targets and have to play a piece over and over again until it was excellent. We wanted to just play for the love of it and grow in his passion for it without any pressure. And we're so pleased we made that decision, because I cannot tell you how many times we get people, they start asking questions, they ask what grade it is in terms of playing. We explain that to them, and we have had so many people that have said, man, we wish that had happened for us. We played, we went up the grades, we played right up until the age of 16, 18. We had to work really hard at it, and obviously you do have to put time. There is work that's involved, but there was so much pressure on to do that and to achieve that they said they've never played since. And you can see the longing for the love that was there, but that was just stifled because of almost the pressure. And I actually haven't had one person that's come up and said opposite to that. And almost every time he plays, that there's somebody that comes up and says something very much along those lines. And I'm not knocking that system at all. But I think for us, the choice for Andrew was not to pressure, not to make it something that he feels that he has to reach a certain level at, but to encourage as much as possible every opportunity and put into that, whether it's lessons, whether it's assisting in being able to get a good instrument, even if that's meant sacrifices that we've had to make on our side to be able to afford to do that, and just really encourage the gift. And I think with every child, there is a gift within them, several gifts, but to be able to find and explore those might necessarily be the dreams that we kind of put on them, that could be from our ideas of, wanting to be the next attorney or next Richard Branson or whatever it is, but to really find what is the individual unique gift that they've put in, that, like I say, my wife and I were not musically talented, so it didn't come from us. That was a gift from above. So to find what gift is there that's not necessarily come down to genes, explore that and help them to explore it, and to just be able to love it with all of their heart.